Hey, I'm Dan, and since this series is about radical changes that have been made in people's lives, I thought I'd tell you a story. So my friend Jordan grew up on a dairy farm, and on the farm they had this large manure pit. And Jordan would play around the pit sometimes, but his dad would warn him not to get too close because it was dangerous. One day, Jordan did get too close, and he actually fell in. Now he got really scared because the pit began to pull him deeper and deeper, and he thought his head would go under. Thankfully, Jordan's dad came along and pulled him out. What Jordan gained from that experience was a pretty radical shift in how he understood God's love. Just like his dad came along and pulled him out of the manure pit, God reaches into our lives and pulls us out of our own mess. Today's big idea is also about something radical. It's about the radical boldness that we get through the Holy Spirit. Let's watch today's God story.
They moved on to different towns, Lystra and Derby? Okay. Hey everyone, Alyssa here. I'm so excited to share today's God story with you. So I have a question for you. Do you think you're a bold person? For me, it depends on the situation, but I find I can make bolder decisions when I'm on an adventure, when I'm traveling somewhere, things like that. And so I remember this one time I was traveling with my family in Guatemala, and we made the spontaneous, bold decision to go ziplining. Now, it was kind of scary and kind of like, what are we even doing going ziplining in this strange country? But we decided to do it, and it was so much fun. One of the best decisions we've ever made. Now, that was a really fun example, but we can be bold in more serious parts of our life too. Maybe being bold and talking to someone new, even if it feels awkward, or being bold and telling the truth, even if it feels uncomfortable and vulnerable. There are so many ways we can be bold. And in our lives with Jesus, we're offered a slightly different kind of boldness. That's the focus of today's big idea. We show radical boldness through the Holy Spirit. As we finish up this series called Radical, we're talking about the radical boldness that we have through the Holy Spirit. And we're gonna see that in the story from Acts chapter 14 about Paul and Barnabas. Paul and Barnabas were traveling together when they went to a synagogue that's kind of like a church for Jewish people in a city called Iconium. While they were there, they preached with such power that a whole bunch of Jews and Greeks became believers of Jesus. But unfortunately, there were some Jews that started to say some awful and untrue things about Paul and Barnabas to the other people around them. Now, when someone gets difficult for you to deal with, or when things get tough, do you run or do you keep going? Well, Paul and Barnabas decided to keep going. They decided to stay where they were, even though there were people that were saying nasty things about them. And they stayed there for a long time, too. They preached boldly about Jesus, and God gave them the power to do miracles. They were partnering with the Holy Spirit, so they had a radical boldness to do what God wanted them to do. But then things started to get a little bit more dangerous in that town because people had divided opinions about Paul and Barnabas. Things started to get out of control. A mob of Jews and Gentiles are people who weren't born Jewish, and their leaders decided to attack Paul and Barnabas and stone them. That means they wanted them dead. So there's radical boldness given by the Holy Spirit, but there's also wisdom. And in the wisdom of the Lord, Paul and Barnabas decided to move to another town. They moved on to different towns, Lystra and Derby and the surrounding places. And do you know what they did there? Did they hide out? Did they deny being apostles? No. Let's read what they did. There, they continued to preach the good news. How amazing is that? They continued to boldly, radically preach the good news of Jesus because they knew they had a job to do and it wasn't worth being afraid. Maybe for you, there are tough things that you feel like you need to do to show God's love to others, like talk to a kid that nobody else wants to talk to, or write a nice thing online when everyone else is being mean, or step out and volunteer or serve somewhere. Those things might feel really hard, but when you ask for help, know that the Holy Spirit can give you radical boldness to step out and do those things. When we follow Jesus, we have the Holy Spirit living in us. So remember, we can show radical boldness through the Holy Spirit. Friends, this has been so much fun. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time.
We heard about the radical boldness that Paul and Barnabas had in spreading the good news of Jesus. Isn't it incredible that they never stopped when things got difficult? They knew they had a job to do, and they simply moved on to a new area when things got really tough. Let's check in with Duann, who shares about her own life and about the experience that Sam had when God called them to do something bold.
friends. I'm Duann, and I'm so excited to be able to spend some moments with you. Tell me something. Have you ever wondered how your friends would describe you? Would they say that you're friendly or that you're caring? Maybe they'd say that you're outgoing or maybe a little shy? No matter what they say about you or what they would say about you, I'm not sure that too many of us would have someone say that we're bold or that we're risk takers or that we're daring. But do you know that through the Holy Spirit, we can be bold? Let me explain to you. This is my puppy, Stanley. Isn't he adorable? Okay, so would you believe that when I was growing up, I was afraid of animals? It didn't matter how cute they were. I was so terrified, but my family loved pets. So we started small. We got a fish, and then we got hamsters, 2 guinea pigs, 2 cats, and finally we gave away our cats and we got Stanley, we got a dog. Can you believe that? So now I play with Stanley, I brush Stanley, I take Stanley for a walk, I clip Stanley's nails. I am no longer afraid of animals. I know the Holy Spirit helped me to become more bold. Wow, can you imagine? That's pretty bold for someone who was afraid of animals. I wanted to share with you about Sam and a group of his friends. They really wanted to help some people who were living in difficult situations, and they decided that they would move in. They would move into the apartments where they were living so they could love them better and see exactly what they needed and exactly what the community needed. Let's check it out.
We often invite people over for dinner. We'll take people to the park, play basketball. If they have issues in their apartment and they're scared to talk to the landlord, then we'll go with them and help them with that. If they're learning English, we help them learn English. If they want to teach someone Arabic, then we learn Arabic. A lot of our neighbors here, they come from different countries. They don't have that much education often. So we use our education, we use our Canadianness to step in and to show that this is a problem and to help our neighbors' voices be heard so that the city officials will do something about it. Our neighbors have heard about Jesus doing miracles when he was on earth, but we share stories of how Jesus still answers prayer and still does miracles, and they're really curious about that.
That is so cool. Sam and his friends gave up their comfort so that they could help others, and in doing so, they were able to share Jesus in practical ways. Sometimes we need to take bold steps to help others, and it can look different for each of us. So for me, I was really passionate about helping people to become more healthy and fit so that they could be better and be stronger and be able to do the things that God wanted them to do. So I used to stream videos of me exercising. I used to take photos of me eating healthy and exercising. I used to teach fitness classes. And it didn't matter if it was a good day or a bad day, I did it every single day because I really wanted to help people and to push people towards being healthier and fit. It wasn't easy making videos and putting photos out there of myself. I wasn't sure how people were gonna take it or how they would respond, but I wanted people to see the real. I wanted people to see every day how hard sometimes it was, and just to let them understand that no matter what, that they could do it too. I wanted to encourage them to be better. So as I said, helping others can look different for everyone. It can take a lot of courage to go up to a neighbor and offer help, or even to stand up for truth. But remember, the Holy Spirit can give us boldness to do the things that we feel that we can't even do by ourselves. So whether you feel like maybe you want to be a friend to that kid that seems lonely, or you could write a card to an older person, or maybe a mission trip so you can share Jesus' love. Whatever it is, pray about it and ask the Holy Spirit to help you and to give you boldness. Thanks for spending time with me. I'll see you soon.
I think it's so cool that Sam and his friends moved in among the people that they wanted to help. What they did was brave and bold and extremely selfless. When you feel the Holy Spirit put something specific on your heart, pray about it. Talk to people who can help you make a wise decision. And then move forward, trusting that God will give you the courage and boldness to change someone's life. Let's break into our small groups and see what this looks like in our own lives.